Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, hey, Yusuf. I didn't expect anyone to get here so quickly. So today I just wanted to talk a bit about line art. My mic's a little loud. Let me turn it down a bit. I don't know why, but my delay, um, super. Okay, so I'm just inking. It's super long, I should say. I'm just inking a sketch that I actually did. About, what was it, 30 minutes ago? And so I'm just taking a sketch that I did. I usually wouldn't ink sketches right away. Like I usually would wait wait like one day before inking the sketch. Like partly because so I can spot the mistakes, and partly because I think it's kind of like uh uh what was the word? Why did I just forget that word? Uh, well, an avoidance tactic to just avoid doing the work uh, that I needed, that I know I needed to do. So I'm just ending the sketch because I've been putting off these completing these pages for a while because of the quality. The quality. Well, I always told myself it was because of the quality, but honestly, I just didn't want to do these pages because I didn't feel like I wanted to work on Death of a Crescent Moon anymore. Like it was never really a passion project. It was just a learning project, something to do while I was waiting to improve my skills. Sorry, mic drop. Just something to do while I was waiting to improve my skills for my main story. 5-star Visor. Yeah, which is a passion project. But honestly, that kind of started off as not a passion project either. Uh, well, I often heard from other artists. I heard from other artists, like I'm sure you all do, that the best way to improve on the best way to learn how to make comics is to make comics. So I took that to heart and I made comics that I'm not really proud of to this day, but they got me to where I am now. and I learned how to draw and make comics at the same time. I've been drawing since I was young, right? Uh, I've been drawing since I was little. Yeah, but it was not like professional, or I didn't really take it seriously. Like I tried to learn, of course. I watch YouTube videos that I because I love learning and watching videos about art and how to improve the art, and how to learn anatomy and perspective and stuff like that. So I've been doing that since I was in like high school, middle school. I kind of quit art for a while. Um, not even because not even because I disliked it. I just kind of quit art because yeah, I just got bored. I didn't want to draw no more. I never really feel like drawing. And I also felt a lot of frustration because I couldn't, well, at the time, I could see the mistakes in my art, right? Like, I used to feel so frustrated with my art that I tore up pieces. I doodled, like, scribbled over pieces, like angry scribbles. I don't know how to explain it, but like, I just drew lines over my pieces that I didn't like. And every time I drew something I didn't like, I just got angry and angrier to the point where I quit drawing because I couldn't see a way to improve. Like in all the art classes that I took in school, they weren't really about art. They were about graffiti. I mean, in patterns, which is art, but not the kind of stuff that I wanted. I was interested in. Like you couldn't learn anatomy, and form, and shading from these classes. It was just graffiti and patterns, which is things that I actually use a lot in my current projects. But at the time, I wanted to learn how to draw like Da Vinci. Uh, I didn't want to do graffiti and street art. I was not interested in graffiti and street art, no matter how beautiful I thought it was. I was just not interested in personally doing it. But I had no art classes that were teaching that, so I had to learn from the internet. I was also kind of like growing up, we were poor. Not that poor. I could afford a lot of things that I want, and my brother also. My brother and sister supported me financially to kind of do what I buy the stuff I want to buy. You know, like I had no money, but I didn't have a lot of money. I couldn't afford an art class. Couldn't afford to go to uh, art classes. Kids, but I can afford like crayons from the dollar store, right? So that's what I did. To invest in my art, I got crayons from the dollar store. Yeah, I don't know. It just kicked me out of my own life. Yeah, I got crayons from the dollar store. That's I don't know why YouTube keeps doing that. It just keeps kicking me out of my own life. Yeah, so I got crayons from pencils from the dollar store. From get some art supplies here and there, and that's how I started learning art in high school. I got a lot of art supplies that I just that are just like sitting, rotting away after like during high school and after high school. Like during my first year of college. I'm actually 21 now, and I have to admit that I have not finished college. Like I haven't finished like a solid year of college because yeah, the CUNY system sucks. So many things happen. Some of them were my fault, but not all of them were my fault. I was focusing on trying to make a living from my art, but so far, not very successful. That's fine, because you only finish when you give up. And that's, and I started learning art during the pandemic. I feel like a lot of people feel that. I started really paying attention to practicing and putting in effort during the pandemic. But even in high school, I was watching promo videos and doing gesture drawings because I love learning. So I created very few actual pieces, but I did fill my notebook up with sketches and lines, all sorts of practice, warm ups, stuff like that. I even had a little anatomy phase where I was learning anatomy, and I do know anatomy now, but I don't really implement the things that I learn in my work. I mean, I do it now, but I didn't used to. So I might have learned anatomy, and then, but it's in my notebook only, right? So I learned anatomy in my notebook, but after that, um, it was like I completely forgot, and I completely disregarded the information, and just kind of what's it aside is bad. So I made a mental note to myself that I'm not going to do that anymore. Like if I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna actually learn. I'm not just gonna, study and then when it's time to implement the information that I've learned, it's tossed aside. So I started actually putting what I've learned into my work. And that's when I started. Every time I take a break, I see improvement. So I learned that in order for me to improve, I gotta take breaks. Like it's not just consistent learning. It's I also need time to absorb that information. So I take a lot of breaks. But I mean, this has not been my biggest break so far. My biggest break so far from art has been like middle school and 2023. 2023. This brings me back to the topic I want to talk about today, which is this line art. And line art is very near and dear to my heart because it's something that you either hate or love, and a lot of people hate line art for some reason. Like I was looking at YouTube, and the number one thing is like how to do line art. I hate line art, and it's not something like line art is very difficult, but it's not something that I've hated. Like drawing hands, I love drawing hands, and I love line art. I might not be good at either of them, but it's still something that I love. So it was kind of a shock to me that so many artists were like, no, I can't do line art. I don't. it's difficult. Um, and because it's difficult, I hate doing it. It's not like I can't relate to them. You know, I quit art for a long time because it was difficult. But now I'm kind of changing my mindset. Like I want to appreciate the difficulties of art. Like it's difficult, but it's also fun because it's not easy. Yeah, it is something you have to put a lot of work into. I still struggle with so many things. Like I can't remember back muscles. I have to look it up. I have to look at reference, and that's part of the charm, I think. So many of these pens have stabilizers, but it's so low that I don't even notice. Like I don't use stabilizer. That's one thing I never use. I don't like the feel of it unless I'm doing some like the only time I use stabilizer was actually to get me out of some bad habits because I have a lot of bad habits. You know, like I drag my pen. I don't like taking my pen off, and because of the way I've been taught by like Proco and stuff, it's like you gotta use your shoulder, which is important. You have to use your shoulder, but for some styles of line art, that's partly why I stopped drawing in like 2023 because I was drawing for long hours. When I was drawing Five Star Visor, I was drawing like 16 hours a day, barely getting any sleep, and I kind of injured myself without knowing. So for a long time, I would stop drawing, and I would wonder why can't I draw? And then every time I pick up the pencil, my hands start shaking. I don't think I had it wasn't full blown purple tunnel. If I did, it would be pretty bad. But it was definitely my body warning me. And I take these kinds of things very seriously. I don't want to get injured permanently or temporarily. So I took unknowing and unwilling breaks. I was very angry at myself. Maybe it was part burnout, part, physical uh, wear out. But I was kind of angry at myself. Why am I taking breaks when I should be working? I was like 17 too. That's not a mindset a 17-year-old should have. Okay. Now I want to talk about line art. Line art, actually planning on making a video on line art soon, but the video doesn't feel robust enough to warrant. And I mean, it doesn't feel robust enough. It's like 4 minutes, like under 5 minutes, and it's not detailed enough. Yeah, just not good enough for me to make yet. So I gotta keep working on it. I wanted to make it in one day, but it's gonna be a little harder than I thought. Finally flipping the canvas at the inking stage. Not good. Don't be like me. Yeah, that's why I usually wait thinking. But today, I decided that it doesn't matter. It's bad. I just want to get it done. That's way too thick. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk, get some of my thoughts out there. I've been thinking about becoming, like, if I become, or when I become a more successful artist, right, and get assistants to do certain things for me. I don't think inking would be one of them because inking is very personal to me, and it's basically like a second sketch where I come up with a lot of ideas during the inking stage. And yeah, I don't like it too dark. Man, inking visually so convenient, but inking traditionally it has a tactile feel to it. Like I just inked one of my characters traditionally, and it did feel really spectacularly good to do so. Yeah, then drawing a line over the whole thing, kind of look like a star instead of shadow. All right, I gotta go. My my software can't. Oh, oh.